cash flow. That's a concept that a lot of people don't understand because you don't really get that in your personal life. I guess you kind of like you have bills in your personal life, and for some reason, like that consistency of the paycheck every Friday just ruins your mindset for business. It's like the hard part about business is have to spend money before you have it, and you have to be willing to do that. Like also, I see people all the time. They're just like they're doing enough marketing to break even in their business, and then literally they need like 10 more calls.
Yeah.
Or 10 more sold jobs. If it costs you $200 to get a booked job, then we need to spend another $3,000 on marketing. And they're like, I don't have it. And I'm like, but you will if you spend it. And I'm like, yeah, you literally just need to like commit to another $3,000 in marketing, and the jobs will come and pay for the marketing. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Jered Williams Show. Today we got special guest, Mr. Tyler Williams. What's up?
What's up?
How you doing?
Good. Nice beard. That's where we started last time, too.
So you got to speak into the mic.
Okay.
Somebody got mad at you last time.
Yeah, somebody did get frustrated there. And I didn't hear it, though. Like, it sounded fine to me.
Well,
I didn't want to be NPR and get real close.
Yeah. This whole episode is going to be ASMR.
Okay.
Just kidding. Dude, yeah. Thanks for coming on. You're down here for the Hoorah. The Wealthy Plumber Hoorah is happening this week.
It is.
It's currently Monday. People are probably seeing this on Friday.
Some people might be finishing their slides.
Some people are definitely finishing their slides for the Hoorah. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Before we get into today's episode, I want to talk to you guys about our sponsor, Plumline. They're freaking awesome. And you can even say how awesome they are, but because you've got a bunch of clients that use them, and
yeah,
we've got a bunch of people that, we use them, and then a bunch of our Wealthy Plumber people use them. And it's like people spend all this money on marketing, and then they don't pick up their phone.
Yep. As an agency, like if you are spending money on marketing and you don't have a way to deal with after hours calls,
yep,
you are leaving a ton of money on the table. Like we see it all the time in the background.
So I've just been running Facebook ads for the last week, and I'm just running them to a form fill on the website. And the majority of the form fills, probably 90% of them, come between 6 and 10 p.m.
Yep.
Or Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon. Like 90% of them.
Yeah, when nobody wants to work.
Yeah, and so people are trying to call you and book a service with you or get a hold of you during those times, and you don't answer your phone, they're calling the next person on the list.
We see often, like if somebody has heard a ring for about 4 times, they duck out and you've lost the lead. So to have somebody who picks up,
yeah,
and then just the pure notion of contact starting is massive. And so it drives me nuts when we hear it on our call tracking. That's crazy.
So if you're spending money on advertising, or you want to make more money and get more calls or get more booked jobs, then hire Plumline.
Agreed.
They'll take your overflow calls. So like if your CSR is on a call and then and she's busy and can't answer it, you can have that forwarded to Plumline. After hours, you can have Plumline answer your phones, and on the weekends, if you're just a one truck chuck, they can literally answer all your phones, book the jobs. What's cool about Plumline is you pay per booked call. You don't pay by the minute like most of these people, so they're incentivized to book the call. Super cool service. If you tell them you heard them from the Wealthy Plumber or Jered Williams, they'll give you a week of free calls. Go check them out. .org. Cool. You wanted to talk about that we grew up super poor. and
yeah, dirt floors.
Well,
actually, we didn't have carpet on the floors for half the house.
Dude, we didn't have carpet for a long time. So we didn't really like grow up, like our parents weren't poor.
Middle class poor. Maybe.
They're middle class. I think we grew up pretty middle class, but we definitely lived way more poor. Like very frugal.
Mom and dad always lived beneath their means. Yep. And I think there's good and bad to that.
I think there's a lot. Well, I think there's a lot of good to that, but it's like the mentality that we grew up with around money. The second we got into business, we were like, this mentality does not serve us well here.
So then, to clarify, like living below the means wasn't the problem. Yeah. It was the mentality that almost accidentally was instilled in us for years.
Oh yeah. Till I was 35.
Yeah. I mean,
I look at, there's a lot of people who look at me and they're like, "Oh, you're so young, you figured it out, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Dude, I just turned 40 and I didn't figure this out till I was 35." Like I feel like I started late.
So when I first went into business for myself, I still held that mentality of like, well, every dollar is it's not even that every dollar is sacred. It's just like, it was a lot of fear around money being spent and it not having the desired effect, right?
Yeah.
And waste with your money, which is fine, but like there was a anxiety and a fear around the fact that once it's gone, you're never going to see it again.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it stems from like, so I mean, we didn't grow up poor, but we grew up like our parents. The mentality was, we go to work, we make money, and then we save that money, and we don't spend.
Yeah,
unless it's necessary, unless we like have to have it to continue to live.
Yeah,
right. And so then, like, we start going to work as young adults, and we get paychecks, and the paycheck is only so big.
Mm-hmm.
You should take part of that paycheck and go put it in a savings account. I didn't do that until I was like 32.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out how to save money
I couldn't
for the life of me.
It was a long time.
Yeah. Dude, I would literally go on Fridays, I'd get my check and I would take it to the bank and I would cash it.
Just go straight cash?
Yep.
Oh, that's weird.
Yep.
I would deposit it, but then I would use a card to undeposit it very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so for me, a lot of it was you couldn't control what the world would give you.
Yep.
So you took what the world gave you and you settled for what the world will give you.
Yep.
I think that's the core of it.
You were dealt the hand you were dealt, and that was it.
Yeah.
And so the money you got on Friday on that paycheck was limited to what the world gave you.
So you have to be a good steward of that paycheck, which I like, that carries value.
Yeah.
But so it's really not really around the income. It was more around the fact that you couldn't control your income.
Yeah.
Like we didn't grow up with the idea of like, hey, go and ask this customer if you can, like, go and ask for more. Like every time we would go into a job interview, it was like, oh, that's what this job pays. Okay. The end.
Yep.
And so it's like, oh, and so that when I first went into business, that's how I took a customer mentality. It's like, there's fixed points that you cannot break beyond.
Yeah.
Or people will just walk away from you.
Yep. And that's slightly true, but we don't ever even I think we as people growing up that way, we project, and I see this all the time with plumbers who get into the wealthy plumber, they project what they would be willing to pay for it, not actually what other people are willing to pay for it. Right.
Yeah. There's because you know it all and it comes easy to you. So therefore it is of less value than it is to other people.
Yeah.
And they don't see that. Right. There's value in knowledge. In business podcasts always say like, you're paying me to know which screw to turn. Right.
Yep.
And I think that's true, but we were always, I don't know, early in business, I was always undervaluing not just my ability and things, but my team's ability.
Yep.
was a big one that and that one kills me, because then I am taking my anxieties and putting them on other people's value.
Yep.
And that seems like a big bummer.
Yep. And that's why, like, just crunching the numbers and knowing what you can, like, just run a good business. It costs what it costs.
It does.
The service you offer costs what it costs.
Yep.
End of story.
And
like,
knowing that and reverse engineering.
Yeah.
Like, what is a healthy business?
Yeah.
But I mean, and that's all the business side, but there was a real like psychological change that had to come
massive. So massive. I mean, it took me like 2 years to get over. Like when I first crunched those numbers and worked it backwards, I was $140 an hour, and I landed on 259, and I was like, nobody's going to buy anything. And then the first call, the guy bought all the stuff. And then at the end of the call, he was like, hey, this is like over $200 an hour, right? And I was like, yeah. He goes, but you kind of got me over a barrel because you were the only one that answered your phone. And I was like, yeah.
That's the value.
Yeah. And he paid it gladly. And then I would go to I went to a guy's house for a water heater, and it was like $2,800. And I was like in and out. It was like next to the front door, basically. And he asked me when it came time to pay the bill, he goes, you sure you're making enough money on this? And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
A lot of people would walk back at that.
Yeah. And
they would get flustered, and they would go like, I mean, are you unhappy about it?
Yeah. I was just like, yeah, I'm sure I'm making enough money. Don't worry about me. I got that covered. And I was surprised. And then I literally at 259 all the way up until when I got out of the truck, I think we were like 325, and I sold 100% of my jobs. Zero pushback, like zero. I was so surprised.
Well, your value, it's all perceived value.
Yeah.
Like I don't call a plumber or I'm not the plumber for my place.
Yeah.
Right. I call a plumber.
Yep.
I'm like, come in, fix it. I have other things to do that are higher leverage activities for me to be doing.
So you just hired my old company.
Yeah.
To come. What'd they do?
I'm not the plumber. No. So we had a well pump that was dead basically. Mm-hmm. And he figured out what it was. So he came in, diagnosed it. Mm-hmm. And his name was also Jered, like very good at like, he talked a good game. And I appreciated it because it was like, all right, I know the process. I know what I'm in for. Okay. So the beginning of the story, speaking of my mental hangups, mm-hmm. What did I do first? I told you this on the phone. Uh-huh. First thing I did was try and fix it myself. Uh-huh. Right? So, all right, wake up. There's no water, just no water in the house. So then I go, well, okay, these are just systems. I can figure this out. And I start diagnosing and doing all this stuff. What did I ignore? I ignored my own business while I was doing that. And then I get to a point where I was like, okay, well, now this is beyond my expertise. I thought about calling you to ask for your expertise. And you said, just call somebody. But I called Dad because that's what we did growing up.
Yeah.
We grew up in you got to fix it yourself. Nobody's going to.
We fixed everything.
Yep. Well, Dad fixed everything.
Yep.
And he was good at it to some degree, right?
Kind of.
Yeah. So better at it than me.
Now I know better. So, looking back, I'm like,
But so I called Dad, and to Dad's credit, for like the first time in my life, and I'm 41, I hear him go, so what are you going to do if I know what to do? Because he's in Montana and I'm in Alaska at that point. And I was like, well, I'm going to just call somebody. And he's like, so why are you calling me in the first place? And I was like, you're right. Why am I calling? Yeah. This is dumb. Like, I don't have the skills at this point. I've exhausted all my personal options. I'm going to call somebody and get this fixed so I can get back to work.
Yep.
And so that was super valuable to me. But though, here I am years later and I still have these mental hangups.
Yep.
Because of the upbringing we had. And that's, by example, our father was a jack of all trades.
Yep.
And so every single thing that went wrong, if he didn't know it, he would learn how to fix it.
Yep.
But what I've found is, as I've grown older, I didn't show like an aptitude for that. My aptitude was always in the head in the clouds, like being the creative, like computer goer, right?
Yep.
That's what I became good at. Now I'm so proficient at it that it behooves me to spend more time there because I turned that into a business.
Yeah.
And
it's cheaper to pay an expensive company to fix your plumbing problems
than for me to do it.
Than for you to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a level of frustration that happens for me when something goes wrong, and to the point where I go, this is out of my skill set. I could learn it. I know how to learn it, but it's such an uphill battle. And I don't know what I don't know. And I know that I don't know what I don't know. And then I'm going to run into more barriers as I go forward. So my value isn't there. My value is somewhere else.
Yep. And so when you call a plumber, though, all you want is for that problem just to like disappear with as little effort as possible on your end.
Well, especially these days.
Yes. And it's worth paying whatever you paid to make that happen, right?
Yeah.
So like what was wrong with your water?
The well pump had died. And so we were getting no water into the house. And so it really, we think voles ate the shielding on the wires going into the well pump. And then that shorted out on the pipe
Casing.
going into the ground. Yeah.
Yep.
And so he fixed that and everything was fine.
So he came by and what did he do? Splice a new piece of wire in?
Yeah. He just spliced new wires in and then we had insulation because it's Alaska around the well pump casing, right? And then there's the big fake rock that goes over it. Mm-hmm. And so he was like, this is riddled with ants and vole poop and stuff. So they're probably like nesting in there. Mm-hmm. And so he was like, you should just take that out. You don't need that here.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it. But.
And what did that cost?
$400. No, it was more than that. I want to say it was like $500.
Yeah.
Roughly.
How long was he there?
Maybe, I think from like work diagnosed to fix a couple hours, maybe like once he figured it out. Right. And then we waited for it to get back up to pressure and everything was fine.
Yep.
100% not worth my time to try and diagnose the stinking problem.
Yep.
After I knew it wasn't just like the filter. Right.
Yep.
Because I'm sitting there going like, well, I got to find my multimeter. I got to go through all my tools. Okay, I don't know. Maybe I need to cut the power because I haven't heard the well pump. Maybe I got to go look at the well pump. Let me check the breaker. And I start going through all these steps. I spent an hour, 2 hours on it myself.
Yep.
And my team is probably going like, I wonder where Tyler is.
Yeah. If only he would solve this problem, I could make him thousands of dollars. Yep.
So then I get back to work and I'm looking at the chat log and it's like, oh, look at all these things that I didn't take care of because I was taking care of the urgent problem that I could have had somebody else deal with. Like, and that's what, I mean, ultimately that's to some degree I'm an ideal customer because I have a life so busy that that's worth it.
Dude, but that's more customers than people realize.
Yeah.
Like they just assume everybody's poor and not busy and they can fix all their own stuff. And the reality is most people understand that when their plumbing breaks, they don't have the skill set to fix it and they need to be at work. And so if you can make that process smooth and easy and pain-free, then you gain a customer for life.
And that's why, I mean, even if you didn't start Prospector and run Prospector, I would still be using Prospector probably because they, from a customer experience standpoint, they got it dialed in. Like all the things that you tell people to do are done there.
Yep.
And so whenever I call, I get an answer, speaking of Plumline.
Yep.
Right. And then every time, like they come, I get the text message, I get the photo, I get the name of the guy, the van's clean, the guy shows up professional, he has a process, I feel taken care of, I feel like I'm taken on a journey of customer service and support, not, well, I wonder what time he's going to be here. I wonder how that's going to, like how this is going to shake out. And I've had service, like our lawn care company is terrible in comparison.
Yep.
Like they never tell us when they're going to be there. We're just on some random subscription that I don't really know what it covers. I don't know the names of the guys. I don't know what's included. Like, and my wife and I both, we were working from home and we'd be on Zoom calls and hear coming through. And I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And so it became like, well, we don't want to hire that. We're going to jump ship, but nobody in Fairbanks, it's hard to find people who like do that level of service.
Yep.
But I think that's what's required to be successful from a service standpoint.
And as far as I can tell, that's like everywhere in the world. Like everywhere I've ever been, that's what I see or that's what I hear.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to find a good level of service. And it's not that hard to provide. That's the odd part. It's pretty simple systems like have somebody there that answers your phone, hire Plumline, use software where you can actually like book a time frame.
It's the front
communicate
line.
With the customer.
Like
send out a text message, like train your guys, call the customer before you go out.
I've been thinking a lot about, I sound like an old grandpa when I'm like, think of it like a World War II battle. Who would you send to the front? How do you maintain the line, right? But that's what it is. Like, what is the first thing that could be the problem in somebody hiring your business?
Yeah.
Those are so important, and people have a tendency to skate by them for like the back end. And so, like, as a marketer, of course, I'm sitting here on the very tip of the spear trying to get people to come into your business.
Yep.
And then if you aren't set up to grab those people and really nurture and take care of them,
Yep.
my effort and in the future, like, fruit of that effort goes out the window.
Yep.
And so it's frustrating, but I just want people to work on it. Like, and just, it's the small things, it's the little details,
Yep.
but they make a huge difference.
Yep. So there's like the pricing thing you got to get over. Like, you just have to be more expensive. There's also like, there's the growth standpoint of your business. Once you get over the pricing, because I remember doing this,
Ooh.
When I started in business, I started to get over, okay, I'm more expensive. There was actually you remember Altral in Fairbanks? They were
I was going to bring up how I hired them.
huh?
You were working for the union at the time.
Yep.
I hired them for a boiler tune.
Yep.
They came in, they did a number of things. I don't know what, but it cost me like $1,200.
Yeah.
And you were like, holy.
My thoughts were like, dude, you just got ripped off. And I still think that because of what they did to your boiler.
Yeah. Like,
not because of the pricing though, but
yeah. Yeah. So, but regardless, I remember being the homeowner going like, oh, well, I found out that Jered could have done this in 2 hours and it would cost me like $300 or whatever. Like, cause you didn't know how to price yourself at that point. This is before you really went out. I don't know why my watch is being, but the thing that I realized was, if Prospector came and did that now, I'd be 100% okay with it.
Yep.
Because it
probably would have cost you more.
Maybe.
So what was crazy is, so like that company Altral, they like
the wrong button.
Set your alarm for the middle of podcast, please. So that company Altral, they were like, in the plumbing world, they were just ripping everybody off.
That's how you felt about it.
That's how I felt.
Still feel
that's
about
that's how I felt about Altral. And then I had this crazy realization growing Prospector. I was like, oh, I'm becoming the new Altral.
So yeah,
I am now the one that all the plumbers are like, oh, they're just ripping everybody off. And I gained this new perspective of like, oh, no, actually, you guys just undervalue your skill sets and your abilities. And if you really knew what they were worth, you would say, I'm going to go charge more like Prospector is so I can make more money. But instead they flip to like, oh, they're just ripping everybody off.
They also aren't reinvesting the money they make. Like, I think the people who, like, they aren't understanding that if you charge more, you can reinvest that money into tools for your business to be able to serve the customer better, more reliably.
Yep.
And then like what that costs, because they're constantly trying to do everything the cheapest, like our parents for a long time.
And that's the funny part, because on one hand, they're sitting there complaining about how they don't get paid enough. Mm-hmm. And then on the other hand, they're bitching about the company that is paying their guys more, but they're having to charge the customer more for it in order to do that. And it's like, it's just a misunderstanding of how business works in their head. But it's as the guy who came from the plumbing world in that same mindset to then cross over into the business world and have to have that mindset changed. That was difficult. Took me a while.
So here's an interesting concept for me anyway. You built your house before you left Alaska.
Yep.
Now, would you do that again?
I wouldn't do the work only for the enjoyment of actually doing it.
And that's a value that you have.
If I was solely concerned about the money, I would just hire people.
So, because I think to some degree, like, you look at Alaska and you look at like the mentality of the people around you, everybody is building their own thing. They're doing it's very Nope, I'm the one.
Yep. Oh, these guys
100%.
want $3,000 to do it, but I can buy the materials and do it myself for $500.
Yep. And
So
it
I'm
might,
going to do that.
it might take you like a month and be really shoddily done.
Yep. But that's how they do. Yeah.
Well, our father grew up in that.
Mm-hmm.
We grew up in that. I never enjoyed that. Like, I don't enjoy car maintenance.
No.
Like, I don't want to change my oil. I don't want to change my brake pads. I don't want to, like, I pulled the Volkswagen engine out of my wife's car at one point and did something.
Yeah.
And I look at that now and I'm like, I would never have done, like, I would never do this now.
Nope. No.
But a lot of that was, okay, so here's the misconception I had. I was working for myself at that point. Remember, I started working for myself at 19.
Yep.
And so I went out as a freelancer into the world, still held a full-time job, but I would do all this work on the side.
Yep.
So, like, I know what it's like to be like, oh, hey, I'm going to go out by the skin of my teeth and completely price myself wrong.
Yep.
Because I did it with TV ads.
Yeah.
So when I first started doing TV ads, my first like sale, $300. My last one, $2,000.
Yeah.
And even that, like there had to be variability on like what I was doing inside of those. I mean, I got better and faster, but like I remember going like, well, I can't charge more than this because here was the big thing. The TV station would do it for free.
Mm-hmm.
How can I charge more than a pittance, right? Guess what? Some business owners would come to me and be like, no, I don't want to pay for that. The TV station will do it for free.
Yep.
The quality was the difference.
Yep.
And so the quality of experience that I could provide and the quality of the work. But I didn't value that quality.
Nope.
I gave it, but I still didn't raise my prices. So for a long time, I did them for $500. It wasn't probably until about $1,200 a commercial that I finally got to the point where it was like, okay, you're going to run this thing for maybe a few years. I should maybe charge you.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Like, and so it's like, I think everybody, when they start out in business and they're trying to go from freelancer to business.
Yep.
That's a totally different game.
It is a totally different game. Totally different game.
Yeah.
So I see the like the money mindset there in the beginning around pricing stops you. Once you overcome that and you start to be more expensive and you start to stack money away, what I then see is people getting stuck in their business because they're afraid to see that money disappear. Because we spent, or typically, you know, like you're coming from a job, you're going into business, and then you learn how to price yourself and you're used to making a paycheck. So you got this Friday paycheck coming in and that's the money, and you save some and it's there. You're not supposed to spend it. You're supposed to save it. And then you start getting into business, and if you're pricing properly and you're marketing your business and you're getting call volume, money should start to stack up in your bank account. I remember, because I worked for like 6 months and I stacked away 80 grand. And I was like, that was the most money I'd ever had in my entire life. And then I had to watch that 80 grand disappear.
I remember you and I talking about this as it was going on.
It was freaky.
Yeah.
Right? Because,
Scary the first time.
well, in my mind, I got 80 grand. It should stay there. It should never go down. It should only go up.
Yeah. Well, that's what mom and dad instilled in us.
Right.
So there's a client of mine, and he's still a client. He's like my pet project in Alaska. Like my one pet project left there. Very successful business owner, has a probably $15-20 million business inside of Fairbanks. And one of the reasons why he's my pet project is because I gain a lot of knowledge about business from him.
Yep.
He's been doing it since the 80s, fresh out of high school is when he started. But he told me, and I really appreciate this lesson. He said, listen, you're going to make money and you're going to have capital. It is okay to spend that capital to leverage yourself to be able to get more capital. You have to get used to that.
Yep.
And it was at the time right before COVID, and I was looking at getting commercial properties. And so I was touring these places with him, and he was giving me all this like financial sort of background advice. And nobody saw COVID coming. So that was probably, that worked out that I didn't buy a thing.
Yeah.
But the lesson was really, really good. And to the point now where I know that there are going to be times where I'm overspending what feels responsible sometimes, even in my own business, to be able to get something that gives us better leverage to serve the client better or to serve my people better. So that way, like, it pushes the whole machine forward. And then I know that, okay, I made it. I like the money that I spent, I've made before. We can save that up again
We can
for the
make it
next
again.
leverage thing. And it usually happens faster because you're bigger and stronger.
Yep.
Like, your business gets a momentum after a while.
It does. It takes on a personality.
Yeah,
It's actually kind of crazy.
it is.
So I took that 80 grand that I had and I spent it on vans, tools, materials for the vans, hired a couple guys, like 3 guys, and then did a bunch of marketing. And I remember watching it get to like 5K. It was like Monday morning, 5K left in the bank. Payroll's due on Friday. My payroll's more than 5K. That was as low as I got, and I was freaking out.
Yeah.
And Christelle, my wife, was like, don't you make money during the week? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. So
I hope so. I hope we do. I hope calls come in.
I think every business owner has an inflection point like that because it's a lesson you have to learn.
Yeah.
Because I bought my business, right? So I worked for the agency, had a dumb name, so I renamed it because it was the old owner's last name. So I bought it, and then, but I had to raise capital, and I raised it from friends and family.
Yep.
And some of the money that I had saved up. And the previous owner was very much like, "Oh yeah, this is easy. You just pay the people, capital goes away, and then you'll make money. By the end of the month, you'll have plenty." But I was freaking out because I'd never experienced that.
Yeah.
So then I pay all these people, and there's no more money, and I'm like, maybe this is a month-long business. I'm like, worst comes to worst, I have debt and I go work for somebody else. And, but he was right. And to his credit, like we saw the checks come in and they came in on time because he had built up a really good client base. Right. And then boop, 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 boop. And then I had recovered and then I had flow. And that was really interesting. Like that was another lesson of business of like, oh,
Cash flow. That's a concept that a lot of people don't understand because you don't really get that in your personal life. I guess you kind of like you have bills in your personal life, and for some reason, like that consistency of the paycheck every Friday just ruins your mindset for business because like the hard part about business is you have to spend money before you have it.
yeah.
And you have to be willing to do that. Like marketing is a big one for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like also, I see people all the time. They're just like, they're doing enough marketing to break even in their business. And then literally they need like 10 more calls.
Yeah.
Or 10 more sold jobs. Maybe they need 75 or I don't know, 15 calls total. And it's like, okay, so if it costs you $200 to get a booked job, then we need to spend another $3,000 on marketing. And they're like, I don't have it. And I'm like, but you will if you spend it. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, you literally just need to like commit to another $3,000 in marketing and the jobs will come and pay for the marketing. And the thing is you're like, maybe that first week you spend $750, but you book 2 more calls. And it's like you get the call and you can do the job and then you put the marketing on your credit card and you pay off your credit card.
Oh,
and it's such a short cycle. Yeah. It's not like it's like you're going to get to the end of the month and owe the marketing company $3,000 and you haven't gotten the jobs yet. Mm-hmm. It's opposite.
I think because it's ephemeral, it's hard to buy into the future.
You can't use words like that on this podcast.
Because it's
mainly because I don't know what it means.
so not tangible.
There you go.
Like it's hard to do. Like, because I myself had not spent enough on marketing for my own company because of the mentality we grew up with. And okay, but another good lesson in marketing, I can't remember if I mentioned the story before, but had a client. It was my early days of like buying media. And so he would run radio ads in the community. And so he gave me a budget, lined out the budget, and the campaign underspent because something happened. Like somewhere along the lines, something didn't spend, and it was spent like half his budget.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then, so I go to the client. This is rookie marketer Tyler, and I'm like, cool. Well, I have good news. We still have some marketing budget left over. It didn't spend the whole thing. And he was like, what do you mean it didn't spend? And I was like, yeah, cool. We saved you some money. And he's like, no, you cost me money.
Yeah.
You cost me opportunity because the people that would have seen me, that would have understood what my business was,
Yep.
they're not out there now. And so they're not going to come in the door.
Yep.
And that was a lesson that I think is something that, like, I have to educate my crew on that story. When we get new people in the door who are media buyers, I got to tell them, like, your goal is to spend all this budget.
All of it.
You spend all the budget and not a penny more.
Yep.
Like, you got to get right down to the fine line.
But to be efficient with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got to be a good steward of it.
Yep.
So, like, and that's the thing, is I was not a good steward of, maybe I was a good steward of the budget. I was not a good steward of his opportunities.
Well, you were viewing his money through your lens.
Yeah. And that lens was the lens we grew up with.
Yeah.
But you can't approach your marketing or your business in general the way you approach your personal life.
Yep.
Because the other thing that I know is that if I don't spend enough on my own marketing, we get fewer leads. Then my sales guy can't close. He depends on that to make his world go around, right?
Yep.
And then the rest of my crew starts to hurt.
Yep.
And so I can't support them with the proper tools. I can't, platforms, whatever, right? And it's like this never ending cycle of fight if you don't push yourself out there. So, like, I think that's really a problem of aggression in marketing.
Yeah.
Like, I sometimes view budget as like an aggression meter. The bigger your budget, the more aggressive you're going to be.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah, I think the lesson to learn is, like, you're going to make money. You have to be willing to spend it to make more money.
and you do get more comfortable with it.
You do. Like last year, I think we spent $1 million on ads.
Yeah.
We watched our bank account pretty much go to zero, but we were like, I think we took like $600K and put it into Wealthy Plumber and watched it all disappear. And then, knowing we're going to make it back. But those things, like, that's super hard to do when you're new. And so, and you, like, most people don't have to do that, but they can do, like, in the instance of like marketing or buying a new van or hiring a new guy, all of that has an upfront cost. You're going to have to spend some money on marketing. You're going to have to spend some money on a van. If you've got money in the bank, watch it go down. It's okay. It's like an investment. View it as, I'm investing this money into my business to get good returns. And there's nothing, like, there's no better investment than a good, well-run business.
Agreed.
There's none.
I mean, we never, because you and I, somehow we both ended up in business. That's not
somehow.
That was not in the cards when we were in high school.
No.
But we both look at where we would have ended up if we didn't.
Yeah.
Well,
I know where I was. I was miserable.
For me,
my plan was to be a beach bum. I didn't make it there.
My plan was to be a video producer at a TV station.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, that's my calling. That's the peak of my existence.
High dreams and aspirations. Yeah.
And for people who don't know, that is not very high in the land of media.
No. What do you make? Like 30K a year?
Yeah. It was bad.
Yeah.
And eventually I saw those guys and I was like, those guys look rough.
Well, yeah.
Like, that does not look like a good lifestyle. And then I started going, well, what if I work for an agency where they take care of you a little, just a smidge more? But then it became, I can forge a better path for myself. I don't know. It wasn't like there was a light switch. But at one point I just woke up and was like, I want to kind of do this on my own so I have more control. I think that's where it started. Is I wanted to make better stuff, and I felt stymied by, like, the creative director that I was working under at the time. And so went out on my own, and then it was like, okay, there's something to this. And then I started making enough to like support itself and whatnot. But it wasn't until I became the agency owner where I was like, I'm sitting at a spot I never thought I would be sitting at.
Yeah.
Like there's cash flow and all that stuff, but there's also responsibility, and you have to be a bit of a planner. You got to be thinking about things you never thought about.
You got to be a bit of an asshole sometimes, or you're going to be perceived as an asshole.
Yeah.
You're actually being nice, but
being okay with being perceived as an asshole.
Yep.
But also I would say sometimes you aren't being an asshole. You're just being clear.
Yeah.
And like, cause I used to be the major people pleaser on the crew, and I still like people to have a good time. I want them to have a good place to work. Right. But over time I've learned like, oh, if I always make something okay, whatever, fun, I'm not setting proper expectation. And so I got way better at being like, all right, cool. So here's the lines. Now let's have fun inside the lines. Right. But you go out of those, and I'm just going to immediately tell you.
yeah. So what about when because like you move from mindset of charging enough to now you've got some money in the bank and you got to learn how to spend it to make more. Like it takes money to make money. That's where that phrase comes from. But then you eventually get to this point where you have this machine of a business running and there's just more money than you can spend. There's like leftover money, or you start making more money than everybody else. So like for a long time, like Prospector, the first 2 years, I didn't make any money. It was like $0 came back to me for the first 2 years. And then I started paying myself like a normal wage. I think I paid $90,000 a year. Then there started to like pile up money there, and the business didn't have a need for it. Like I had more than enough to invest back in the business. And then I started having this money left over, and I started feeling like bad about it.
I think that's also a pretty common thing.
Yeah, that's like the next money mindset you got to get over. So I'm like looking at all my crew, and they're the ones out there like busting their asses.
Yep.
And they're getting paid well. And I'm sitting over here. I'm not even at the office. I'm just goofing off, and I'm making all the money. And I'm like,
but you carry all the risk.
You carry all the risk. You do. And that's
the thing. I think you need to be paid for your risk, because really the money that you are earning should go to building yourself a runway of risk. And I think some people, I mean, we've both seen it. We've seen business owners who are like, I bought these 7 boats.
Yeah.
It's like, why? And then next thing you know, they're like
I need more,
under a barrel.
I need more leads. And you're like, well, you're going to have to raise your budget. And they're like, I don't have any money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So the way I view savings, like for the business or even for life, is just like, this buys me runway. Like this,
Totally.
This buys me time. And so as we've grown, we've gone, well, how big does our runway need to be? Like,
what is it? Like, how do you determine that? Do you have a metric that you use?
I like to have 3 to 6 months of everything like locked in a savings
Payroll,
account.
everything,
just to
marketing,
make me feel
everything.
Everything. Just like operation expenses are here, because if something happens, and I've seen one thing that totally just killed marketing.
COVID.
Yep.
Yeah.
I woke up and I was super thankful, because I had done that. And so I woke up, and every client, we had like, I'd say like 40 clients in Fairbanks at the time, right? Or in Alaska, it was statewide. This is before we went for Plumbers. It was right at that turning point. Really, that's one of the things that caused me to do this. But right at that time, like we woke up and everybody was going, pause it. We don't know what's going on. Every single client. And then I had to call the crew, and we just held a staff meeting on Zoom back before we were used to it. But I was like, guys, the world is weird right now. I don't know what to do. So I have to cut you all down to half the amount of hours to buy us some time to figure things out. And that was really hard for me to do, because there's some pride to like providing for people, right? You want to, and I didn't know if I was making the right move. So I did that. And then we started calling the clients as like more information, whatever things. And then it became, okay, some are starting to activate some more. I did talk to the bank and I was like, I don't know how deep this rabbit hole goes, but can I get a loan for a month's worth of payroll? And they were like, yeah, sure. This much. And I was like, okay, this buys me some more time.
Yeah.
So at that point I was a little bit more confident in like being able to generate my own work if I needed it.
Yep.
And all the clients came back and like my runway that I had socked away, that paid for about 2 payrolls and then we were good to go again and we were making money again.
Yeah.
But if I didn't have that, I would have had to dip into that loan. That loan wasn't long enough to supply me for enough. But that was a weird anomaly. It's very rare that your business is going to go from here to all the way to zero.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to see that again for a very long time. Most of the time you go from like 100% to 80 and
Not
you
until
make
the
some
next
curves.
Pandemic.
Yeah. Okay.
They're working on it. Trust me.
So
They're thinking about it. Trump's back in there. They got to think of something.
like all of that ends up being like lessons you take forward.
So does the 3 to 6 months for you, is that just pure comfort?
I mean, it's not comfortable.
I mean, is it just like, I have this much because that's what makes me comfortable?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a gut check.
Yeah.
And I think a gut check is fine.
So I was listening to Mike Andes the other day because he does a lot with like yard companies and that kind of stuff. And it's similar to pressure washing. And so I'm like, he looks at a business and he wants you to have 1 month's expenses. And then if you have 1 month's expenses in the bank, you can spend after that to scale.
Oh, okay.
He's like, let's scale.
Just 1 month?
1 month. 1 month, we're scaling.
Maybe I'm overshooting it.
If you got a month of cash, we're scaling. Not that I don't think it's like it's not like for like a solid runway, but it's like
Something.
if you want to grow, like if you're not making money and you want to scale the business, or you're at a spot where, because in the beginning, like if you got 2 guys, it's really hard to stack away cash.
Yeah.
If you got 10 guys out in the field producing a lot of revenue, it becomes way easier to stack cash. So I think sometimes it's less risky to just scale the damn thing and then start soaking in the cash. Because like with Prospector, I spent all my money went towards scaling Prospector.
It was interesting to watch you go from like my nepotism baby client, like where, okay, I'm helping my brother out, to you started spending about as much as like new businesses, all the way to eventually your ad spends became some of our biggest ad spends.
Yeah. Yeah.
And watching that growth path, that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
You got aggressive.
I did. And we like that first year I started with, like I worked for 6 months. I put away 80 grand. I watched that 80 grand disappear. And then I was able to put away like 200,000 for the year. But that 200,000 felt like less than that 80 grand.
You had a bigger beast behind it, right?
Yeah, because I had, like when I had that 80 grand, it was just me.
Yeah.
No shop, just me and a CSR. That was it.
Yeah.
And it felt like it was more money than I ever seen in my entire life. Felt like a ton of money. I remember looking at Christelle and being like, I can't believe that we have $80,000. Like, this is crazy. And watching it disappear. And then we got to the end of that. Next year, we did like 2.8 million in revenue, and I had $200,000 left over. And it felt like nothing. Like that 200,000 felt like I had $10 left.
Your sense of scale really changes.
It does.
Yeah.
And then we started losing money, and we watched it disappear again. And I was like, dude, this sucks.
I've been in the case where I started hiring middle management in the agency. That's another spot that is really common for business owners to like feel the pinch, because now you're adding a lot of cost without adding revenue.
Right.
But
they're not producers. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not producers. But what's interesting is as the business grows, like we just added another middle manager into one of our departments. And I was like, okay, right? It's like, because, and like as the team grows, like sudden that big chunk of a middle manager now becomes like, oh no, this is actually much smaller because the business is bigger, so it can bear those hits.
I think business gets easier as you get bigger. It gets hard in a different way, but
you have
becomes easier.
I think it probably, I don't know. because we're still growing. Like we still got a path to forge ahead.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I'll hit like a weird wall at some point, but my assumption is that, yeah, you get on step and you know that you're comfortable here, but in the natural order of things, you want something different and more and bigger, and you see more opportunity. And
Yeah,
so
but those get easier to do because you can
they
just
do.
buy your way into it rather than
Yeah.
having to work your
So
ass off into it.
there's-
And you're like making money that like you're making good money, and then you can take a piece of that and like grow this other area slowly, and it feels more comfortable. Like I'm just reflecting on Dude Wash. Like Prospector in the beginning was really hard. It got very easy at scale because we like if somebody called in sick, it was no big deal because we had multiple people. You know, if
those things make a big difference.
yeah,
When you have redundancies built in,
yeah, if we needed to hire another plumber and we trained him for a month and then he sucks, so we let him go and it cost us a few $1,000s. It didn't really matter because we had a bunch of thousands of dollars coming in. But then, so that got really easy. And then growing Dude Wash again, even though I've got money now to put into it, the beginning of the business is a pain in the butt. We only have one CSR. If she doesn't come in, phones don't get answered. I've only got one sales guy. If he goes through a rough patch, sales don't come in. Jobs don't happen, get on the board. My wash guys don't have anything to wash. The flow of customers is up and down. I feel the market pains more, right? It's way harder in the beginning.
It is. You're not a year in yet.
No.
With Dude Wash.
No.
And so like, I think so there's this concept in marketing that I have, which is time and consistency is going to give you momentum, right?
It does, yeah.
And I think that a lot of things in life are like that, really. Most things in life. And people aren't willing to put in the time or the consistency. Like they think, well, I just need to be consistent this much and for this tiny amount of time, and then I'll be okay. Or I'm going to put in the time, but I'm not going to be consistent. It's like, I've been doing this for 20 years. Yeah, but you haven't consistently been working on your business, really. Right? And so I think it's those two factors that make a big difference. But the expectation is often, well, this will all happen faster than it really does. So like with Dude Wash, you still have a leg up compared to Prospector because you've got all that knowledge of what it's like.
Yep. Capital.
Yeah, and you have capital. There's more security in your life in general.
There is,
than there was.
Yep.
But does it feel harder or does it feel easier?
Maybe harder is the wrong word. It's annoying. It's frustrating. It's more frustrating. Growing Prospector, ignorance was bliss.
That's true.
Like I had like every step was a new stage. I didn't know what to expect. I had no idea what was going to happen. I just kept pushing forward and we kept making progress slowly. And before I knew it, I looked back and it was like this thing that made me more money than I ever thought possible with as little work as I ever thought. Like I never thought I could make that amount of money with that little of work input.
Yeah. Well, again, that's not how we were raised.
No. Yeah.
It was
no. That was
sweat equity in
way off my radar.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was possible. And then I got this like glimpse of like, oh, you can actually like make things, you can actually like the like life by design concept of like, I can actually just kind of like decide what I want and then go get it.
So going back to like the way we grew up, and I found myself one day. So I bought my business. Cost me $300,000, and my final paycheck was March 1st of 2020, and then COVID hit. Right, so then it became like, oh, I'm gonna have all this extra cash from paying the old owner, and then snap, really weird thing to go through.
Yeah,
but that took me 4 years, and so I was like, oh yay. Oh shoot, where was I going with this?
I have no idea.
Don't
look at me.
Oh man. Okay, what were you saying?
I was saying life by design. And
that was it. Suddenly I had no North Star, and because that was my goal. Yeah, because just get the loan paid off. Because everything up until that point was not life by design. almost everything in my life was being reactive to the world around me instead of going, I'm going to engineer my life for this. That has been since that day. And then it became like, it went through a series of events where it was like, all right, cool. There's more of an agency that I can have. Let's pivot to a niche, plumbers, and let's build and let's actually go for what we want versus what like the circumstances of the world gives us.
Yeah, rather than just dealing with the cards you were dealt.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we grew up thinking that the world has a series of circumstances.
Yep.
And I think to some, like, I remember Dad telling me years ago, he was like, man, when opportunity knocks, you got to take it. Like, you have to at least look at it and decide if you want to take it. And I do think that's truthful. But
I do too, but I think people just...
We didn't know how to build our own opportunity.
Yeah, you can create, like, you can go after your own opportunity. The weird part about that is that the opportunity may not be there now. The second you start going after it, it will present itself. And I used to think this is like weird stuff. Like I remember reading The Science of Getting Rich and Think and Grow Rich, and they're like, oh, the universe will bring it to you. And
manifest with your mindset.
Dude, but the more, so like my wife basically has been like hippy dippy into health food, right? You know this. And she, like, you came over to my house yesterday, full disclosure to everybody listening to this. I've got grounding sheets. You plug them into the wall, right? So the sheets have silver threads in them that you can lay on, and the silver all gets tied back to a plug that plugs into the ground in your outlet. That is ground to the ground outside, and you get magnetic frequencies of the earth and all this weird
I can't wait
voodoo
for
stuff,
my
right?
wife to hear this.
Voodoo stuff, right? It's like when I first heard it, I was like, yeah, that's a bunch of voodoo crap. But at the same time, like then you start like looking at the science behind it, and there's a little bit of science, like a little bit, not much, but there's enough there to say, well, it's like no more effort to put these sheets on my bed than some other sheets. The only extra effort is I got to go plug it into the outlet.
So that's worth the effort.
So let's try it. Like, why not? Right. But so you start getting into like this health food world, and there's this book that I've been reading called The Biology of Belief. And he starts talking about, he gets deep into like physics and mathematics and energy and how we're all just energy. And he starts talking about the science behind why you can think something and then it like
manifests.
It does, because
I didn't read The Secret, but I think that's the conceit of that book.
The Secret got weird, man. That was weird. Like that one went, I was like I tried watching the documentary or the movie. Me neither, but that one got weird. That one got real weird. But even like, so Think and Grow Rich is probably the least weird of them.
Okay.
Because he explains like what happens in reality when you start setting your mind on something. So like if I set my mind on something and I reset my mind on that every morning, right? When opportunity comes, I'm more aware of it.
Yes.
Because I'm constantly like I think about Dude Wash and Wealthy Plumber nonstop. I wake up in the morning thinking about them. I'm having conversations with my wife. She's talking. I don't know what she's saying. I'm thinking about like business, and like there's stuff floating around in my head. I'm having ideas. Somebody says something and it like triggers an idea in my brain. And if you lose that, or you don't have this goal in mind, none of that happens.
So I do think that there is something, you can call it energy, whatever. The thing is, like, you have influences over your environment that you are unaware of, and you have threads to pull on that you usually don't see.
Yeah.
And so, like, because I think about my business all the time.
Yeah. When your wife's talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go.
And when you and
she
I.
probably already knows.
Yeah. when you and I are, like, what do we talk about? We talk about our businesses.
Yeah.
And so, like, when I used to think this was cheesy and dumb, like all the business self-help stuff, all the like seeking out answers, because we grew up in a world of do it yourself, figure yourself out, don't ask for help, just you can do this, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, sort of thing. And there's some merit to like, yeah, you need to take responsibility, but that responsibility should also be like seek out the people who've already done this stuff, right? So like, But I do think that by focusing on a goal, things do happen because you're taking actions you not even realize you're taking actions on.
Totally.
And then it's like, you hear the stars aligned and like this crazy thing happened all the time.
Yep.
All the freaking
That's my
time.
life story.
Yeah.
Like it all worked out. It all just always seems to work out.
Do you remember where we thought we'd be in high school? Like,
No.
especially when you had Costin?
Dude, I got my wife pregnant when she was 15, I was 16.
Yeah, I remember.
And it all just has worked out.
I remember you told me it was something along the lines of like, I hope you don't think I'm a failure or something like that. When that happened, you told me.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think you would be. I was like, you'll figure this out.
Yeah, you're kind of a turd.
Yeah,
kind of
I
a
was
piece
like,
of crap.
Well, it was one of those like, glad it's not me. See you later. Right.
And now you're being like, damn it, I wish that was me.
It's like, oh, yeah, because now looking at you empty nesting at 40.
Yeah.
And me, I still have high school and junior high to go through.
Yep.
Which
it was, so I view most good things in my life that have happened, I call them happy accidents. Yeah, kids at 17 was a happy accident.
I know, and your kids are fun. Like, I have fun talking to your son because we have common interests.
It's like this whole podcast, social media stuff, happy accident.
This is the weirdest, weirdest thing that I never would have thought. Like, oh, Jered's going to be the guy who sits on a microphone and talks for hours.
No,
our cousin told me, she like, we were sitting in the restaurant. She was like, he doesn't talk much, does he? I was like, no.
What
he's
cousin?
never been. Christina.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like you would just be sitting in the table.
The funny part is I still do that.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not the talker.
Like last night, I was talking to your wife more than you. You're just sitting there.
I was thinking about business.
Until we talk about business stuff.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, no, all those happy accidents, even for me, I never thought like, I almost went into like buying the agency as I'll do this for a while, but it'll eventually probably fizzle.
Yeah.
But now I'm looking at it going like, oh, this thing has momentum. Now I need to figure out like, how far can I take this?
Yeah.
And
what's weird is the longer that I'm in business, the more I think about like the Think and Grow Rich books and the science of like the more I believe that stuff because I've witnessed it. Like just the power of picking somewhere you want to go and then taking relentless action to get to that point on the map. You get there so like I've always set the point too close. It's always been like right there.
So,
and then I get it way faster and I'm like, oh dang, I got to set a new point.
I have multiple business coaches, but one like just works on the head game.
Yeah.
Right. He was the first one who really forced me, like sat me to, he was like, I'm not going to do this if you don't set goals.
Yeah.
I was avoiding goals. And
why?
I didn't want to disappoint myself.
That's weird. Cause like, that's an odd one.
That was my personal hang up, right?
So I set goals in my head, but I never wanted to tell people my goals.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I wanted to be the secret.
Like boom,
surprise.
look what I did. Yeah.
And people would be like, oh, I didn't see that coming.
I definitely didn't want to tell people, but I also didn't want to disappoint myself. And I looked at goals as, because I would see people just, BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal thing. And like, I'd look at people doing it, even the people that I served as an agency at the time. And I'd be like, man, that sounds outlandish. And I don't think that's going to happen. But it was always the good business owners that did. And then when I started setting my own goals and we started like tracking our efforts, it made a huge difference in momentum.
Yeah. And if you can think a little further ahead, it helps you take actions towards something bigger rather than something smaller. So you might do something today that will pay you benefit in 10 years.
Yeah.
You may be more willing to do it today because if you weren't thinking that big, then you wouldn't do that thing. The Did you ever read the Hobby Lobby guy's book?
No, you recommended it to me, but
That
I didn't
was
actually
one of
read
the
it.
weirdest, like coolest books. Like the guy, I feel like he takes it too far, but a cool book because so he views his business as he's a Christian guy, like hardcore Christian guy, and he views his business. He says it's God's business, it's not mine, and so this business is eternal. It's not mine to
He goes
set
all,
the end.
all in.
He does. He goes all in. Like I personally think it's too far. But at the same time, like he started that business in 1954, and it is now the most profitable, like I think it's crafting store in the world. It is the largest, highest revenue, like the largest in revenue and the largest in profitability. Largest in revenue and the most profitable craft store in the world. And the decisions that guy makes, like he is not thinking about today or next year or 10 years from now or 20 years from now. He's thinking about this business in like 50, 100-year spurts.
That's bonkers.
Like he's like thinking so far out. But those decisions that he made based on those long time frames, you can, when you read that book, you start to see how those very decisions are the ones that caused him to be today the largest craft store with the highest profits, because he was so willing to invest back in for the long run.
Yeah.
That thing is just like an unstoppable machine at this point.
So I like that. I do think that like going beyond your lifetime is that feels a little excessive.
It does. So I don't think that's like, I don't mind that part of it. I don't mind that part of it. He just gets, I don't even know he gets a little too excessive with like the merging the Christianity and the business together.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's kind of weird for me because like I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I believe the Bible. It shapes how I do everything because it's, to me, there's no separate worlds. It's all related. The food I eat, the way I live my life, the way I run my business, my beliefs, they're all one big cesspool. So if you want to call it that.
Cesspool might be the wrong word.
No, that's definitely the wrong word, but whatever. One big recipe, right?
There we go. That's better.
So like my spiritual beliefs and my creation beliefs shape the way that I eat.
Yeah.
They shape the shoes that I put on my feet. They shape the way that I live. They shape the way that I do my business.
I'm trying to think of like when you started living that way. It was well before business. Like you started making some of those choices, like experimenting.
It started with health.
Yeah.
It started with, I read a book called The Maker's Diet.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was like, so I had these Christian beliefs, we'll call it. And then I was eating like garbage. And that book just tied the two, what you eat and your beliefs of how we were created. It just tied those two together so strong. And so I viewed those, I think there's like, I view them as like pillars of truth in the world. So I believe we were created. I believe that there's a system that was created, and there's things that you can witness and observe and see in action that are truths that God created in that system. Like if we live in the Matrix, right? There's certain rules that can't be broken or whatever.
Okay.
Kind of. So, and what I've experienced through my life is that I've just learned more and more of those truths, right? Those things that I'm like, that the evidence and the experience and what I already know points to this is truth, this thing, whatever it may be, okay?
Okay.
So then I read a book called The Marvelous Pigness of Pigs by
I have that book.
Joel Salatin. Very good book. It's a book about God through the lens of a farmer. But it's really a book about living by your convictions. And when I read that, I said, well, I know that these things are true. I have like witnessed it. I've experienced it. Like I believe it 100% that this is true. And so that should shape the way that I actually interact and act in the real world.
So,
right?
Yeah. Here's the interesting thing, like me observing that, because I don't go as deep down that rabbit hole as you.
Nope.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. But one thing I can say is that your willingness to live by some convictions, right?
Yep.
Makes you certain in specific decisions and outcomes.
Yep.
Sometimes I've seen those outcomes not be what was expected.
Yep.
But you still like the way you deal with that is different than most people as well. Like,
Interesting.
you don't sit around and go like, I'm defeated. The world defeated me. I played the wrong card. You go, well, now I might have to adjust my expectation of these convictions or this conviction. And now,
Oh yeah.
but it's never, and I'm putting philosophies in your brain. So like, if you don't live by this, you should probably say something. But like, you have a tendency to say, this is the world is, and this is the outcome that we're going to have. And if I'm proven wrong, that's okay. I will develop a different conviction because, but what's interesting is you have sort of leapfrogged this zone of doubt that a lot of people will circle around for a long time.
So I think it might look like that from the outside. I still doubt. They're just shorter lived maybe than most people. Like I still go home and go, crap, is this even going to work? Like, am I wrong? Is this, and that's one of the more frustrating parts like about Dude Wash is when I was growing Prospector, I was ignorant.
Yeah.
And then I learned a lot of lessons growing Prospector. And then here I am growing Dude Wash. And some of the things are not working out how I wanted them to work out. And I'm like, was I wrong? Is there another lesson that I need to learn? Like,
well, and I think that's it. Like you're looking at things going, this is not exactly the same.
No, it's not.
And that means
it's very close.
It's yes,
but very
like,
different.
It's like the same family, but one kid just black sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some degree. So I think
too many branches on the way down.
Yeah. Right. So I think there is some degree of like you're learning new things, right? And adding those to your lexicon. But I don't see, you don't spend a lot of time like lamenting decision.
No,
right?
It doesn't do you any good.
So I think there's two things that you do that I wish more people would do. And I try and model after watching you, which is quick to action. Like, okay, take all the data you have, make a decision, act on that decision, see what the outcome is.
Yep.
Maybe make a different decision, but at least you've taken the data, gotten more data, and now changed your direction.
Yep.
And so that means that you're just constantly like moving forward. Right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people will look at a step forward, not having the outcome, and be like, it's all crashing and burning. Like,
I still do that.
I mean,
it's minimal though.
I know.
Like this is how it goes. Ready? I'll tell you exactly. I make a change. I try to set like a time frame for the change because I'm very impatient.
Mm-hmm.
So having somebody like Eddie Barkhurst, who's normally on the podcast, be like, you told me we were going to do this for 7 days, so we got to do it for 7 days. I'm like, okay.
He holds you accountable.
Yeah, very nice. Otherwise, I'll change it like the very next day. And sometimes I'll still do that. Like if
my ops manager does that for me.
If it's clearly not working, I'm going to be like, all right, let's switch it up. So what happens is I'll look at the data and I'll say, okay, I think this is what's going on. So in order to prove my theory, this is what we're going to try. And we're going to gather information and we're going to do it for X amount of days or whenever we have, like we just did it with our marketing. Okay, let's get 100 leads in the door. And as soon as we get 100 leads, I want to try this other thing. We're going to 100 leads with this other thing, and then we can compare the two side by side. And then we get the data, and I go home, and neither of it worked. And I go home, and that whole night, I'm like, this is never going to work. I should have started a plumbing business. This is the dumbest decision I've ever made. And then I go to bed, and then I wake up, and on the drive to work, I come up with a new idea. I'm like, okay. So that didn't work. So now what? Oh, let's go look at this data point, or I wonder what would happen if we did this, or maybe I should research this different model, Or like, what was the problem with that? What are some things we could do to maybe do it different to solve that problem? And then eventually, like they talk about it in Think and Grow Rich. He says, successful people, they start with plan A. And if plan A doesn't work, they go to plan B. And if plan B doesn't work, they go to plan C. If plan C doesn't work, they go to plan D. And on and on and on and on and on. And they never give up. And eventually, they stumble upon something that works. And from the outside looking in, it looks like overnight success. It looks like he's a genius. But the reality is they just were on the struggle bus until they stumbled upon something where they could actually drive the bus down the road, right? And if you listen to like most business owners, like I remember Tommy Mello came to talk in the Wealthy Plumber group. He said, I'm a 2-decade overnight success. Like from the outside looking in, it looks like just boom, all of a sudden, because nobody knew me when I went from 0 to 20 million. Everybody knew me when I went from 20 million to 300 million. But It took me 20 years for the whole picture. Yeah, I did the last little bit in 5, but the 15 years prior, it was struggle bus, right?
I've seen that echoed in the most successful business owners that I've met. Like they like, that was one of the best things that I learned, that pet project client. One of the other lessons I learned from him was, because he was constantly changing things in his business, trying things. And I was like, this is irresponsible. What is he crazy doing? And he still does it to this day.
Yeah.
He will call me and be like, so here's where we're going now. 2 weeks later, changed my mind. We're going over here now. Yep. or here's another leg of the same thing or whatever. But he's consistently picking apart his business model, trying to find the next thing. And I think marketing is very similar. Like marketing in general is, we're going to experiment until we find the things that move the needle the most.
Yep.
And then we're going to lean, but we're not going to stop experimenting.
Right.
Like we're not going to stop. Like, and I do this with my own business too, is like, I go, well, let's try this and put some effort in there and then see where that goes.
But that's like another reason of why, like going back to the mindset and then like setting your mind on life by design and setting your mind on a big goal and going for that goal, like no matter what, I'm gonna get there no matter what. It gives you it gives you the freedom to keep going. It gives you the constant reset.
Yeah.
Of like, okay, that's where I'm going. Well, I'm not there yet. So what am I doing today?
What else can I tweak?
Day by day.
Well, and I think it gives you intention. Like,
yeah, it does.
That's been the interesting thing, is now I have a goal for my own business, right? Like I go, like every time this started when I went freelance, I was like, I want to be the best video producer. How do I do that? And I looked at somebody who was the best in the market and I was like, I want to be just like them.
Yep.
So you pick your North Star.
Yeah.
And then you go after it. Then when you get there,
that was probably too small of a North Star.
Oh, absolutely. So you and I talked about
I did the same thing. I was like, I want to get out of the truck. And I did the math. I had to have 3 guys. Got 3 guys, got out of the truck, and then I was like, now what? And that took me like a year, roughly, somewhere around there, a little less than a year. And then had 3 guys, and I was in the office, and I was like, I want to get out of this office. Did the math. I need 7 guys. Got to 7 guys, hired somebody to be in the office. That was Eddie. And then got out of the office, and then I was like, I want to make $1 million a year. And then made him, like, literally less than a year.
You did the opposite of reverse engineering.
I did the exact opposite. So literally less than a year later, we were making $100K a month. We didn't make the full $1 million, but we were making $100K a month. We were on that $1 million a year run rate, or whatever you call it. And then I remember I kept writing that in my journal every single day, because I was like, I got to keep this going because I got to hit my $1 million a year. And I remember the day it was 1.13 or something like that on my P&L last 12 months. I called up Eddie. I was like, dude, last 12 months, we netted $1 million. It was crazy. And I had moved to Florida.
Yeah.
Like in the middle of there somewhere, my wife wrote in her journal, I want to sit on the front porch. I want to sit on my front porch and drink coffee in the sunshine. And then,
but you don't do that in Alaska?
No. So what's funny is the first year we moved here, we did it like religiously. Every single day we were on our front porch, no matter the temperature. And it gets cold here. Like it'll be. There were a couple days it was like 30 degrees. Some days it's like 40s and 50s when you first wake up. And we were like, we are sitting on our front porch, drinking our coffee and watching the sunset come up. And we did that probably every day for a year. But it was crazy. She wrote that in her journal for like 3 months. And then before you know it, we're in Florida.
I mean,
and it's 90 degrees on the front porch. And I'm looking at her like, this is not as cool as I thought it was going to be. It's freaking hot out here.
that was like, so for those who don't know, like I recently moved out of Alaska as well. Mm-hmm. And the day I went for Plumbers, the day that I was like, you know what, we did really good with Prospector. Mm-hmm. Let's try and get more plumbers. That decision was made to get me out of Alaska.
Yeah.
It took me 4 years.
Yep.
Probably could have sped that up if I had been a little bit more intentional and I had dreamed a little bit bigger 4 years ago.
Yeah. You probably could have.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like now
you would have made bigger, bolder, faster decisions.
I would have had more clarity in some of the pinch points.
Yeah.
And I think that's been really interesting is the bigger my goal and just it's not like it's rocket science. It's just a little bit of reverse engineering. And then you go, well, this decision needs to support that. So this is the decision on me today. So I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Because the end goal's over here. And like I avoided setting goals for so stinking long. It's really dumb to not set goals.
Very dumb. So the moral of the story is set goals.
Set goals.
So
yep.
Like we're going to call this podcast How to Get Rich If You Grew Up Poor. And I think the moral of the story is like dream bigger than you think you can. Like go like figure out what you actually want, what makes you tick, what brings you joy, and set some goal that's big enough to just keep you doing that thing. Or it's hard for me to tell people how to set goals because a lot of people they put it around like, what kind of house do you want? What kind of car do you want? And all that stuff's fine and dandy. There's nothing wrong with big houses and nice cars, but that does not make me happy whatsoever. I like to build stuff. And so my goals are around like, how do I keep myself building stuff until the day that I die?
I don't think it's about setting it around a monetary thing. Like for me, the goal is now around a lifestyle that I want to maintain.
Yeah.
And then the lifestyles I want the people around me to be able to like step into. Like,
so mine came down to, I think you should boil it to a dollar amount though, because
well, yeah,
like mine came down to, I like to build stuff. I like business. I like to build stuff. I also want the money. I want enough money to like have a level of freedom that I want. And then I want to keep pushing the envelope because I want my kids to see me push the envelope. And I want to teach them how to do the same thing. I don't want to leave them with money. I could care less. I want to leave them with a skill set and the mindset of being able to do that for themselves.
I want us, like, it's same thing for me and my kids. I often tell our dad,
yeah,
you were great. You did a lot better than your dad.
He did.
But I want to do a lot better than you.
Yep. So what I did is I set a dollar amount for my business that pushes me to do those things. So that's why the Dude Wash dollar amount was 100 million. Because I thought, okay, that's going to take a lot. And so far it is. But, and I question whether it's even doable or not sometimes, but like it's literally on my phone. So if you read Think and Grow Rich, he tells you to do this. And my thing this year is I'm going to read books and implement them. But I read this every morning and every night. The exact amount of money I desire is $100 million. I intend to give 15 years of my life devoted to growing Dude Wash in return for the money. I intend to possess this money by September 10th, 2040. My plan of action is grow Dude Wash, sell, retire.
It's smart to get that specific.
I agree.
You're making me want to go and revise. I'm going to go tell my business coach, Jered's goals are more specific than mine. We got to work on this.
I think they should be very simple but specific, yeah. and they should be a stretch. And I think like your old big overall goal should be that big, hairy, audacious goal. But then I think you need to boil it down into like doable, actionable, shorter 3-year timeframes. Like, okay, in 3 years, I can actually get this. So let's go for it. But that 3 years should align with your big, hairy, audacious goal, whatever that is, right? And then go for things. So boil this all down, figure out what your goals are.
Charge forth.
Go, like, know your worth, get rid of your bad mindset stuff around money, and go have some fun.
Yeah. Build forward.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. It was fun.
Thanks for coming on.
You're welcome anytime.
Hey, if you guys need help with your plumbing business, make sure and check out our school program. Go to wealthyplumber.com. There's a big button that says join school group. You get a 7-day free trial. Go in there, grab all the free stuff and leave. I don't care. Just go in there and get the stuff. There's also freebies on our website as well. If you don't want to, for some reason, join the school program, I don't know why you wouldn't. But there's freebies on our website. You can get an hourly calculator. You can get a price book. You can get the plumbing business playbook. All you just click, download. It's yours. No, we don't grab your email or anything. So go check it out, wealthyplumber.com. If you want to check out Mammoth Marketing, you can go to mammothforplumbers.com.
Yep.
They do branding. They do marketing. They've done all the marketing for Prospector. They do it for Dude Wash. They do it for a bunch of the people in the Wealthy Plumber. Can't go wrong if you need somebody to market your business. Go check it out. See you guys.